Hello everyone. So let's resume our current affairs discussion now. So please look at this. It is 15th and 16th June. All right. So uh, Israel Arab sorry the Middle East conflict, the Arab Israel conflict. Uh, so you should know the names of the operations. One is the one launched by Iran is Operation True Promise 3. All right. 1 and 2 are also against Israel itself, and Operation Rising Lion launched by Israel. Now, in the yesterday's discussion, we had discussed it largely because Iran is trying to nuclearize its program to make it a weapon, weaponize its nuclear program. At the same time, the international community, or especially Israel, feels that they are going to use this nuclear weapons against Israel itself. So here you can also relate it to ethics in international relations. All right, and how see these conflicts can happen in any world, but thing is how it can impact India. That is the most central part of the question. All right, now because in the mains examination, how it can the happenings, that is especially in the GS paper 3, the happenings around the world, the politics and the policies of the countries which can affect. And Iran and Israel both have been a friendly nation to us. All right, uh, so how it can affect. So some of the things that you should focus on the preliminary examination is first look at the map of Israel, Iran and Israel. Here, so if you look at this is called uh, the Gaza Strip. Here is the West Bank. All right. Here is the Jerusalem, the capital of both of them, and here is the Mediterranean Sea. And the close vicinity comes Syria. All right. And see here, here is what you see a small country called Lebanon. So Syria does not open up to Mediterranean Sea. And at the same time, Jordan. All right. Here you see a small sea called Dead Sea. All right, and here is Jordan. Jordan also does not open up to Mediterranean Sea. Again, important for preliminary examination on the mapping point of view. Then, some of the important sites which have been in news uh, by news because of this conflict. Very very important. One is the Persian Gulf that we discussed yesterday. All right, the Persian Gulf, and here is the small port. All right, small port. So now let us see some of the important sites which have been bombed, which have been assumed to be, or according to Israel, these are the places which has undergone nuclear facilities. So one is Arak, Isfahan, Natanz. This is very important, and Tabriz. These are the sites which have been bombed because Israel thinks that this is these are they are weaponizing against Israel itself. Okay, and one more thing. Next, most important is, sir, what is its impact on India? India first is our energy security. All right, our energy security because most of the oil is sourced from the Middle East. Another is the tourism. All right, the flights flying across this region. All right. Earlier, I know to go to Central Asia, we used to go via Pakistan. Now Pakistan had closed the airspace for us, so our you know uh, planes used to take an extended route. Now, because of this Arab-Israel conflict, aeroplanes will find it difficult to cross here. All right. Then, one more thing you should note here. This is what is called India Middle East Economic Corridor. Okay, India Middle East Economic Corridor. Now, okay, see here. This Middle East corridor, it's a network, it's a corridor, economic corridor. Matlab, we are using no, we are using this largely for the purpose of trade, and India is looking at this largely as to bypass here. All right, to bypass this particular because this is largely prone to the Somalian piracy, etc. But this is still in the initial discussion stage. Matlab, it is a multi-transit corridor in the sense, see from here, it is through ships and again through rail and road network and again through ships. All right, largely because this remains, these are countries which are closer to India. and India is also extensively part of this, because from here we can send, we can connect our goods to one of the most prosperous regions, connect ourselves to one of the most prosperous regions in the world, that is the Europe. All right, and also ensure in case of any crisis that breaks out in this region, our ships will remain, our economy will remain largely stable. And for that matter, you should have a good idea that nearly 90% of India's trade happens, 90% of India's external trade happens through sea itself, because it is very cost effective. So now, if because of this conflict, if ships have to now, take a different route, all right, take a different route because of the, the conflict that is happening, the ships and the aeroplanes have to take from South America, South Africa. So they have to pay extra insurance. The cost will increase. All right, there will be threat perceptions. So any conflict that is happening in the world, it is going to have impact in the surrounding region, especially for a developing country like India. Next, this is Middle East corridor. All right, it was recently, made known to the world, and then is the another is the, North-South International Corridor, North-South Transport Corridor, and again it starts from India and ends in India. And see where which are all the countries, and it is not only to these countries. All right, the surrounding neighboring countries also, they can extend to supply the goods, and for that matter, this see we can directly reach the Central Asia, bypassing even Pakistan, because these are the countries which are very rich in oil. All right, we are very rich in oil, so Pakistan does not allow us to access Central Asia. That is the reason India is trying to bypass by developing closer relationship with these countries. Now, this project can also be affected because of the ongoing crisis. All right, very important. And apart from that, you in the, for the preliminary examination, you should know some of the names, okay, and the regions which are in news. For example, uh, we have discussed about earlier about non-proliferation treaty. All right, non-proliferation treaty started in 1970s. It is United Nations treaty itself. And yesterday I told you about P5 plus one. All right, this plus one, permanent five members plus one. Plus one is for Germany. And some of the concerns that happening between Israel and Iran is that Israel has many proxy agencies. Proxy means, okay, proxy means in, you are my extended arm. Alright, one such organization is Hezbollah, which Israel calls it as a terrorist. Israel tries to bomb this Hezbollah. Alright, and then Hamas. Hamas is in Gaza, and Gaza is in, you know we have I have shown you earlier. Okay, Gaza. Okay, this both these parts become part of Gaza. See here, both this together, this part as well as this part. Alright, this is here is Lebanon, and in this Lebanon itself there is Hezbollah. All right. So Israel has a sense of insecurity across all these regions. All right. Entire surrounding is made up of its enemies. All right. So this is Gaza. All right. This is West Bank. And recently, this was also in news because one you know one activist, hmm, Greta Greta Thunberg. Okay, she was an environmental activist. Okay, she tried to come to meet all the Gazans and check the human rights violation that is taking place. But Israel tried to, because it can become internationalized. So Israel tried to prevent it. All right. So the Greta Thunberg, again, she is a Swedish-based, Sweden-based, political activist, and she is known for, I want my Friday back. For example, that is to, famous, that these environmentalists, sorry, the developed countries, they are spoiling the environment. They are spoiling my holidays. All right, that is what is famous for. Then comes a next most important concept called non-banking financial institutions. All right, non-banking financial institution means they perform all the banking operations, but with slightly difference. That is, they cannot generally accept demand deposits. Demand deposit means deposits which are you can draw without you know uh, um, without notifying the bank on demand. Bank will give you on demand. All right. So because saving deposit, it is for a fixed period. That is called time deposits. And your day-to-day operations, day-to-day transactions will not be possible in a NBFC. Now Flipkart has been given a NBFC. Now this becomes important because Flipkart has a large network across India. All right, and it has large number of sellers also, and also customers. Now, so looking at your consumer behavior, so you have been repaying the Flipkarts properly, or purchasing large amount of goods. Now, Flipkart can ensure that, see, you can buy a particular goods at a at a EMI basis, and or on a credit basis. Matlab Flipkart is able to give you credit because now Flipkart is recognized as a non-banking corporation. All right. Now you should remember that these NBFCs are also regulated by whom? By Reserve Bank of India, under Reserve Bank of India Act. But they are not, they are do not get recognized under the Banking Act. All right. Banking Regulation Act. Again, this is also an old act in 1950s. All right, Banking Regulation Act, they are not recognized, but rather they are registered under the Companies Act. They are the Companies Act. This is also typical prelims point. All right. Now, if the government is encouraging more and more NBFCs, it will enable greater distribution of credit. Now, people can easily access even the micro credit. But one thing you should know here, that Flipkart, though it has been given the NBFC status, you should know something very important. Okay, that is, Flipkart cannot, give money to agricultural activity or any type of industrial activity, or purchase, because you know it can take money from I and you, you and me. It can take money from everyone, and they will give you certain interest. But what will they make out of this money? They will start buying shares. They can buy shares, they can buy stocks, they can buy some of the securities issued by the government, but they cannot, all right, they cannot, as such, give directly to the consumer, to accept those authorized by the Reserve Bank. Again, important for the prelims. Why? Because as such, over last 2 to 3 years, the contribution towards of NBFCs towards increasing the credit availability, credit facility has increased. So see here, lending market. Now earlier banks were dominant. Now NBFCs, they are lending largely to the consumer durables. Again, important from the prelims point of view. All right. Then preventive detention, as such, under we discuss under Article 23. Okay, Article 23, sorry, 22, Clause 3 of the Indian Constitution, which provides for preventive detention. And you should note here, preventive detention and punitive detention. Punitive detention is basically after the crime. Preventive detention is before the crime. Now, preventive detention, when it is done, there are certain safeguards. Okay, given in the Article 22, Clause 3 itself. What are those safeguards? It should not be more than 3 months, unless it is approved by an advisory body. Then the grounds in the beginning need not be told, but later on it can be communicated, given that there is no threat to the society. And one thing you should remember, preventive detention can be done on the ground of public order. All right, public order, morality, decency, etc. But it seems that this has been misused. It is affecting, the public liberty. Now, so it is misused because, just because someone else, a person X, is creating a law and order problem, a law and order problem. All right, the government wants to arrest him. Now, yes, it is a reasonable ground to arrest, but Supreme Court, for the first time, it has delineated, in the sense, law and order problem need not be a public order problem. All right, public order and law and order में थोड़ा सा फर्क है. For example, when law and order becomes, a larger, then it becomes public orders. Just for simple skirmishes, okay, you should not go for detaining a person. Okay, very important. Why? Because preventive detention need not be for the, the preventive detention laws. For example, National Security Act. All right. Then, for example, UPA Act, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. All right. And for that matter, Makoko Act, Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act. Similarly, various states also. See here, this is done. These laws are done by the central government. In the same way, if the states uh, feel that there is a, threat to the, their subjects, under their subjects, they have implemented various state laws. Kerala Anti-Social Activities Prevention Act. Under this, it provides for preventive detention. So as such, Okay, as such, there need not be only just a law, preventive detention act, etc. All right, depending upon the situation, states can go for it. All right, so you can use this example in fundamental rights, democracy, how Supreme Court is trying to protect the democracy and individual liberty, how it is a guardian of the democracy in India, etc. But yes, some of the landmark cases are also available, but it is suggested that these should not, these are part of your optional. You can't write all this in the mains examination. All right. So you can, you will come across. See here, A.K. Gopalan case. This is one remarkable case. It is in 1950, but no questions will be asked. You can write it as a validation. But these are part of your optional. That is especially law optional. So don't have to worry. All right. You will come across many cases throughout your preparation. For example, Shreya Singhal case. Okay, regarding information technology that happened in 2014-15. Then is a very famous and a breakthrough, that is the spark therapy, because cancer cancer is a cancer is basically sudden or rapid increase in certain cells in the body, basically due to genetic mutation. All right, genetic mutation, consumption of any external objects like tobacco, etc., can cause sudden spike in the growth. And scientists till date they had adopted certain techniques, certain techniques like chemotherapy. All right, chemotherapy, that uses drugs to kill the cancer. Then immunotherapy, that basically to alter. Here T cell therapy is very famous. Again, important. In fact, CAR T cell actually. Okay, important for the prelims. Important for the prelims. Very very important. CAR T cell therapy. Basically, they are trying to tweak the human immune system itself, so that human already existing immune system can fight the cancerous cells. Then comes one more very important, that is the spark therapy. Now, what is the full form of spark? Just look at this. Just look at this. Uh, Step and shoot spot scanning proton arc therapy. All right. So you can just remember upper say uh, as a smart spark radiation therapy. Smart. Okay. Spark. All right, spark radiation therapy. Now, sir, why this becomes important? Because see, protons they are chargeless. All right, they are made up. They are the subatomic particles. They are present in nucleus. Now, when these protons are put put into your body in the form of radiations, they have the power to kill. Alright, but the good part is they do not damage the nearby cells, and also more importantly, it minimizes the damage to the surrounding healthy tissues, and reduces the treatment time as well. Because generally chemotherapy patients post post the treatment, they undergo a lot of sufferings. For example, breasts are removed, hairs are removed. Okay, to recover from that, it takes a lot of effort. So, this would be more cost effective and also less intrusive. All right, so that is important. Again, important for the preliminary examination. Next is a very, very important topic, but a continuously changing topic. Now, see here, continuously changing in the sense that, too many facts are there. Too many facts are there. Okay, in that context, I would say it is changing. Now, the June 15th is recognized as Global Wind Day. All right, now tell me, it is not United Nations recognized. All right, it is recognized by some small NGOs. So should I remember? Technically not required, but you should remember that it is not done by United Nations, and it was started not recently, but in the year 2007. So almost 18 19 years back. Okay, now coming to some of the important accomplishments of India towards renewable energy is what is important. So total soul, because under the Panchamrit goal, which India has promised to the world international community, okay, that India would be increasing its renewable energy production, you should have certain idea. All right, but remember, the UPSC will not ask you who is the largest, etc. Why? Because this is, it is not any, there is no common standard or internationally recognized agencies which measure it. All right, over largely wind, in terms of wind energy, China is the largest, and here in this particular material, it is given as third, but here it is mentioned fourth. So this third and fourth scenario it keeps on. But it's a typically even if you write third also in the mains examination, it is not a problem. Even if you write second also, it's not a problem. But by the time you're writing your mains, these are likely to have certain modifications. And in terms of solar power, India is largely recognized as a third. And for that matter, Karnataka is one of the leading producer of solar power. Then China has the world's largest solar capacity. Okay, and sir, should I remember all this? Ha- Remembering this will help you in validation, giving your comparisons in the comparative answers in your mains examination. Now, sir, some of the states which are very well known for renewable energy, very well known for renewable energy, are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. Now, in this context, they can also ask you some of the policies done by the government. One such policy is viability gap funding. Viability gap funding is if there is any type of gap in the funding that is required to establish a renewable energy plant, wind plant, the government is going to assist you. Then, a centralized data collection and coordination to improve the wind resource assessment and to identify most promising locations, basically to identify the most viable regions. Then, we will be discussing on this in thoroughly as in our general studies classes, that is green energy open access rules. Green energy open access rules as well as renewable energy purchase obligations. Then next is the most important aspect, that is DNA profiling. All right. So DNA are basically hereditary materials, okay, which are present in the nucleus of human cell, and it is used for criminal investigation. So DNA basically ऐसे होता है, ठीक है? इसमें ATCG and largely 99% of humans it will be same. The slight variation is what produces different characteristics, and also these are inheritable. मतलब from one generation to another generation. But one thing you should know, in like the way you have this there is exists nucleus and a DNA within the human cell. Okay, there is nucleus, then there is something called mitochondria. This mitochondria also has DNA, and that is called mDNA. And remember, mDNA is one which is inherited from the mother. And using this mDNA, one can see when general DNA, when the one which is present in the human nucleus, is, if it is damaged or degraded, then they use mitochondrial DNA. And this mitochondrial DNA, you can help it helps in identifying the mother side of the that is the ancestry tracing from the mother relatives. In the same way, the chromosomes, see, these are basically the chromosomes, right? Chromosomes. In these chromosomes also, there is X chromosome and Y chromosome. Whenever there is, these Y chromosomes are generally inherited, not generally, always inherited from the male. All right. So using this, they can do paternity, tracing. That is from the father side. All right. So UPSC में science and tech के लिए these are the areas that they focus on. So you need to be thorough about the surrounding issues. This is also called DNA fingerprinting. Then comes CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, mentioned under article. It's a constitutional body, and it's a agency which even appointed by the central government, but it also has the power to audit even the state government. All right, state government public sector undertakings, their budgets. All right, but the problem, the why it was recently in news because they want to undertake public sector undertakings के लिए separate committee. They have established a separate unit. All right, the reports of the CAG are are given to the president, who will cause it to be laid before the both the houses of the parliament, and it is also given to the governor regarding the concerned states. But one thing we suggest is do not read this anything from this book, but rather from Lakshmikant itself. Then comes Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Okay, yesterday many flights of Air India, which was bought from Boeing, and it has been suspended because of security concerns, because sufficient inspection surveillance have not been taken place. Now, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, okay, it comes under Ministry of Civil Aviation, and it is a main coordinating agency with International Civil Aviation Organization, which is a specialized agency of United Nations. That is why it is important. Then, okay. That apart, we shall discuss the next part of this. Okay, because it includes 2 days, we'll discuss the next part of it in the tomorrow's session. Thank you. God bless you.